Welcome, everyone, to the one and only place to get all your team news as it comes in. I'm Pom, and I'm joined by a very poorly, so send him some chat love, Let Dog. How are you doing, my friend?
Apart from the fact, Pom, that there's a 65% chance I don't make it through the podcast or the video. Other than that, I'm good. But I tell you what, if I do pass during this live stream, Pom, the two good things will come out of it. One, we'll get a shitload of views, and two, I'll die happy knowing that Carlton is a fucking good football team, and it's good to be back, Pom, and it's good to be back in the office and not doing it from a car. But it's happy days. The arch rivals this week, Pom. It's exciting,
mate. It is a big one, and for the first time ever, while we're on the show, the teams have actually been announced on the dot for a change.
Whoa.
So we've got a full show where we can actually talk about our beloved team. So the teams are in, and the chat will be pleased to hear with Kennedy out, we have got Dow in this week. So the team's now finalised. Adam Sard, Lockie Plowman, Samuel Doherty, Nick Newman, Wheater in Stocker, O'Brien, Cripps, Cottrell, Fisher, JSOS, Durden, Owies, Kerner, Motlop, DeConing, Dow, Chera, Hewitt, Noons, Walsh, and Young, with Jack Martin dropping to the emergency bench. He was, many people's thought they were coming in. He is not selected this game. So Dowie finally gets a chance to impress. So you guys and girls in the chat, initial thoughts of the team, and Leg Dog, take it away.
Well. We got to get the Keeper League pod, the video from 2021, the Paddy Dow music video. We'll be deploying that on Twitter very shortly. I feature in that song as they're doing a bit of a dance. It's time for Paddy Dow to make his mark. Pom, the fans have been demanding it. He's been pushing for it. If you look at his numbers in the VFL, they look pretty good. I'm still a little bit sus on him, but hey, it's a reasonable opportunity to press your case against the arch rivals in a game that going in, we know we probably should win. Good luck to him. I think Kennedy out obviously hurts us. We've got the luxury of having quite a few mids in the team. Jack Carroll comes out. Jack Nunes comes in. You and me love Jack Nunes. We're probably the two number one and number two ticket holders of the Jack Nunes fan club. I think he's a good admission to help us keep our width. He can also go forward, kick goals on occasions, and he can help out in defence. And then the other players that came out of the squad was Brody Kemp, who's been managed. I don't think that's a surprise. I don't think he's been super amazing in the seniors. On this emergency list, Pom, Jack Martin, Jordan Boyd, Brody Kemp, and Jack Carroll. Who do you think's going to be the sub?
Well, I'd imagine probably, they've brought Kemp up, haven't they? So, I'd guess that's probably a Martin, is it? Do you think, as the team goes down at the bottom? I think maybe they'll probably go with Jack Martin.
I think so.
I like Dow, though. I do like, I think this is the game probably for Dow. I really do think so. Me and the legend that is Paolo, we did the Monday show. We talked at length about probably, with what Voss has said, 2 inside midfielders only. And he's probably looking at a Kennedy or a Hewitt or, heaven forbid, a Cripps to get a knock or be rested. So this is a huge chance, because we've got to look at Carlton at the moment. Every time we've had someone injured, we've always got the guy coming in kicking ass. So huge opportunity. And I do like the fact that it's maybe a little bit of leg speed. Bit of leg speed in this game. Should be very interesting. I don't know what everyone in the chat feels about that, but what do you feel about that?
No, I like it. I like the lineup we've gone with, playing at the MCG. We've got O'Brien, Cottrell look like they're starting on the wings. You've also got Nunes who can play out there. Walsh, Chera can rotate out there. I think they're going to use a lot of width this week. I think it's going to be I think that's how we're going to win at the G, is by using the full width of the ground. I know we've been playing really well on the more narrow ground over at Marvel, but I do love a game at the G, and I do think that this side, when you break it down line by line, there is pace on every line. There's only a couple of players you would call really, sort of slow players in Cripper. Dow's not particularly fast, but other than that, everyone does have the ability to break into a bit of a sprint if required. So I'm excited, Pom. I think it's going to be a fast-paced game, and I think Collingwood are going to want to slow it down. I don't think we're going to let them, and I think we're going to hit the scoreboard a lot because of that. I think we're not going to cave into their pressure. You and I spoke about it offline, Pom. The media was talking about how good their pressure was last week, Collingwood. But you got to remember that it was bucketing down, and I mean, as you told me, when it's raining, of course there's going to be pressure because the ball doesn't move very far.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting one. If you look at Collingwood, their game style here is a very interesting one, because if you couldn't really get two myriads in the opposite. Do you know what I mean? In opposite of what they do. Collingwood, when they play well, they like to get the game going very quickly. If you watched against Fremantle, something that they did really well, they stifled and slowed them down, so they never had free ball, and then they went and took the game on. But to use an opposite perspective, if you watch the Doggies game, they tried to do this the same way, and the Doggies pulled them apart. Now, the Doggies in Carlton, very similar in their ability to control tempo. That's something that is a real hallmark of Voss's style. Leading disposal side in the competition. It's a very pressure-based game, but it's also a very ball-retentive game. And I want to alert everyone, Champ Starter did probably one of the most ridiculous articles I've seen, saying that Carlton have the lowest percentage of corridor football, which is true by the definitions of Champions data measurements, because they count it from where it starts, the chain starts. However, in reality, Carlton actually switch very late, which is interesting because it is something that the Doggies do regularly. So with that there, that really takes away Collingwood's zonal defence. They like to free up more. So it's a very interesting style and opposition, because genuinely, if you look at these two sides, no one can make an argument for Collingwood. That game last week was a big buck trend, but it wasn't a surprise. And I want to allude you to the Fremantles coach, who did specify that when it was raining, they knew that they had an issue, but they were happy with the numbers they generated. It was the fact they failed to adapt. So not downplaying Collingwood's chances, but Carlton, even without Kennedy, will feel odds on here.
Yeah, I think as you said, look, Collingwood are going to want to try and stifle us and slow us down so that they can get us on the rebound. But I don't think they have the players to do it. I think the danger for us, I think we're going to have no trouble moving the ball around the ground. Historically, we tend to get Darcy Moore into the All-Australian side every time we play him by kicking the ball to him 700 times in a matchup. I think with peak Charlie Curnow, a functioning midfield, and some really quality play from our smalls that we're seeing, I don't think that's going to be as much of an issue this week. And if Darcy Moore plays as loose on Charlie Curnow as he did Tom Lynch, Charlie Curnow is going to kick 15 goals. He's just going to tear him apart. They're going to have to really focus. They're going to have to double team Charlie at times. We saw a few weeks ago, I can't remember which game it was, maybe GWS. There was about 4 players playing on Charlie Curnow at once. You're going to need to do that. And then guys like Fisher, Durden, Cripper, Silvani, they're going to hit the scoreboard. So this might not be a game, Pom, where, we kick 20 goals or whatever it is, 15 goals in the first 3 quarters and let them get back in. It might be a bit more of a grind and then we blow out at the end of the game. But either way, I'm seeing a big margin for us. And I don't think it's overconfidence. There's just nothing in the numbers that tells me that Collingwood are going to win this game. It's not confidence. It's just It's just mathematics at this point for me.
Oh, mate, I agree with you. To answer your question, Dylan and Rio, it hasn't been revealed what it is. It was just an SEN article that said that he may be allowed out.
I can tell you what it is because the club just posted something. He missing with a corked quad that happened during training so he didn't train this week because he had a corked quad. So that's normally 1 or 2 weeks of rest, that one. So not the worst injury in the world for sure.
Okay, well, I mean, send in your questions because we've got a nice 20-minute spurt now to answer your wonderful questions. But Ugar, thank you very much for your $15 donation. Surely Martin had to be in if Harry is out, need another forward option, but love that Dow is in. It's interesting that Martin wasn't there. He was very confident he was playing this week. But I think what Carlton have done, I don't know what you think about this, Black Dog, and the audience, I think is that Carlton's strength and Collingwood's strength. Collingwood cut off the corridor fantastically. Carlton attack the wings predominantly. As Champions Data correctly said, 82% of our score launches are from the wide channels, and it's something that obviously Cottrell specialises in. He got a big rap. Carlton have obviously really backed the fact that when they cut it in from about 60, 70 out to a more centralised position, that frees Kerno up. And I'm going to do something wonderful as the host here. I'm going to answer 3 questions in one. Jordan asks about how and more a vulnerable one-on-one. I think by splitting that and being able to come in from a wide channel, what that does is take away Moore's ability from peeling off the contest and making Charlie run from a deep channel, which really then makes it advantage Carlton Smalls. What do you think, and what do you guys in the audience think about that?
Well, look, I don't admit I don't have the numbers on this, but colloquially, every time I try and say this word on the show, Paul, just speaking from what I see, Lockie O'Brien going inside 50 from that wing as he runs into 50, I think that he is our best kick inside 50 in the side. He, not necessarily, I've talked about it before on this show, he doesn't always, like everyone else on the team, seem to kick it to Harry and Charlie exclusively. He's able to pinpoint the guys that have space created by Charlie and Harry pushing out or dropping back, in conjunction with each other to drag their players out. So he's able to find, I would say Lockie O'Brien's one of the main reasons we see a Matt Owies hitting the scoreboard, a Jesse Motlop hitting the scoreboard, because he's able to pinpoint those targets when the gaps are created. And I think there's going to be such an emphasis on Charlie Curnow and to an extent Jack Silvani, just because you have to defend him or Tom De Koning when they're rotating, that there will be opportunities for a Zach Fisher and a Matty Owies to hit the scoreboard. And it comes through that width, cutting in, as you spoke about, from a Lockie O'Brien and a Matt Cottrell. And to add another name, Jack Nunes is very good at that as well. And I think that's why they're in the team. I think they know, and I think it's part of the reason Jack Martin's not in this side, is they know what is working with this forward line at the moment, and it is starting with the wings and then finding the less defended options in the forward line. So I'm really happy with them not messing with the forward line, to be honest with you. And I do think Jack Martin will play as the sub. We saw that early in the year. He only came on for a couple of minutes in the game that he did, but he has the option to be a real impact for us as a sub and can come in forward. So I would not be surprised to see him named as a sub. But yeah, I'm perfectly happy with them not messing with this forward line. It's firing on all cylinders at the moment, Pom.
It is indeed, and it is something that Dow, and we'll come on to Dow because there's a great question by Jesse. We'll cover this one first. But Giscard, Pies pride themselves as bringing pressure and tackling. Carlton's strength is able to withstand tackles and still get the ball out. If we take their strength away from them, we kill them. I think this is a great comment because something that Carlton do incredibly well, and we covered it in the scout report, which should go up this evening on the Blue Abroad website, is Carlton are the lowest kick to handball ratio side in the AFL around stoppages and clearances. And part of that is they take the contact and look to handball it to runners. Now, to do what I've done all show, I'll get 2 questions in one. To cover Jesse Worthing, who, good day to you, mate. I hope you're doing well. It's time to see what Dow can do. Every fringe player has been able to come in and do their job. and able to continue to keep their spots. Cottrell O'Brien, for example, it's going to be a massive crowd. It's time for Dow to stand up and claim. Does he want to be a part of something special? Does he have the hunger? I think this here may be something that Collingwood are going to have to negate. The fact that Kennedy and him are totally different footballers. So he likes running onto the loop, that handball received. It's where he really does excel in the VFL. And also quick ball entry to Kerno from the centre square has created 90% of the small forwards' opportunities. That is kind of a match made in heaven. And if he's got 2 weeks because of Kennedy, it's going to be very interesting to see how maybe this really does benefit in having no Harry with Dow in there.
Do you think, Pom, and apologies if you've kind of already covered this, do you think that he's going to impact on the scoreboard himself, Paddy Dow? We've seen him do it in the VFL. It's obviously different stakes, but the goals he has been getting have been sort of on the lead marks, almost Silvani-esque in the way he's been attacking the ball in the forward half in the twos. Is any of that going to carry through, do you think? Or do you think he's going to be exclusively in the guts, just sort of delivering the ball?
I think where he can be a real threat, and one thing that in the VFL wraps I've covered quite extensively with Dow, and I think it's one of his 2 major improvements this year, is his work around stoppages. And he kind of plays in the Kennedy position, almost identical in where he sets up around stoppages. The difference between him and Kennedy is that straight line speed. He comes in really hard and looks to get that ball in contest. And he's got himself in positions to kick a few running goals from them areas. So I think that's one area, particularly in them forward half, and it is how Collingwood defend. Collingwood really do create stoppages around them areas and slow you down and absorb pressure well. It's probably something where they probably won't have prepared for Dow, but they're going to have to deal with him. So I think he's going to be the forgotten guy in this midfield. I really think for Collingwood, he'll be a guy that probably they'll focus attentions on Hewitt. They know Chera's class. They know Walsh's ability. They know Cripps. I think that this is a great opportunity for Dow, and I'm really excited about it. As I've been saying all the time, I think he needs an injury. He's got it. And shout out to my mate Nick Webb. I know he's a big fan of Dow. We both agreed that when he gets a chance, I think this is the chance for him to get the opportunity. I think he'll take it.
Shout out. I see you've just highlighted Judy's comment. Carlton 128 wins, Pies 128 wins, 4 draws across the journey. It's pretty tight. I think we're going to get it back in our favour this week. But Lachlan Callett commented, has anyone noticed it's O'Brien's 50th game this week? Hopefully it goes well. Huge. Love it. Absolutely love that it's Lachie O'Brien's 50th. He's been playing so well this year. I'm really hopeful that in his 50th, people see what he delivers us, Pom. I know you bumped into him at the sponsors event, and he's a great kid. And I can say that because I'm older than him, so I can call him a kid. Despite the fact that he could probably drop me just by looking at me. Absolutely stoked for his 50th. Can't wait to see him run out there.
I agree. I enjoyed having a beer while he had a soda water and chatting away to him. Sent him the Blue Abroad love. Big thing that we talked about. He is a fan favourite amongst the hosts of Blue Abroad, and he is actually the holder of the lucky shirt I wear, which Carlton haven't lost a game while we wear his shirt. So 6 of the wins we've watched are the O'Brien shirt. I agree. It's something that is huge for him. I really think he's going to have a big one. I think it's all set up for him as well. I really do think it's all set up for him. And I think he will, he'll relish the way that they play Collingwood, because he's going to find a bit more space. Naturally, the way that Collingwood play, they really do pinch their wingers in a defence. So he's probably going to find himself in the overlap, particularly with Cotters. We know when Cotters has come on, they kind of oscillate down the same wing. Someone mentioned Motlop as well. I want to talk about that combination. I think Motlop working up the ground as well will favour O'Brien on that overlap. So I think he's going to have a big one. He's 50th. Jacob also says it's the 50th appearance for Noons in a Carlton shirt. So 2 of my boys celebrating a half century. Go well, good things.
No, it's exciting stuff. It's exciting stuff. I'll just mention over on the Collingwood side of the ledger, their only change was Beau McCreary has been dropped. He hasn't been in stellar form this year, but he is a pressure forward that generally, tackles a lot and creates a lot of pressure on the inside 50. So I think that's actually a win for us, to be honest. I think he's the kind of guy that always seems to get under our skin. So I'm kind of glad that he's not in the side, but that's the only change for Collingwood. Are we going to talk about... Oh, you go.
I was going to say, Beau McCreary as well. If anyone's ever gone to the tool section at Bunnings and asked, do you have a power drill? Genuinely, someone who looks like Beau McCreary serves you. So big loss at all. And Manny's in chat. Probably my second favourite Magpies fan behind the tied first, Kevin Swoop Luke. Good luck this weekend, my friend. He's a big fan of the channel, but good luck to him.
And Pom, it's going to be a massive crowd. There's going to be a lot of Carlton fans in the crowd there. It's essentially a sellout. I got a text today saying the only tickets left were standing room tickets. So, there's going to be 80,000 plus at this game on Sunday. It's going to be absolutely rocking. And I think it, once again, and this is absolute just pure bias right now, I think it favours us. I think we absolutely froth the crowds and we feed off the energy. And I know every team says they do, but you can literally see Carlton, and you hear Sam Walsh talk about it. They play differently when we have a big crowd there cheering them on.
Mate, spot on. I think the crowd influence is good. I'm a simple man, Jolly Pet. I love you too. People saying I love you, it gets me going. It gets them going. That was the big takeout from speaking to Gold at the Gold Sponsor Lounge. It was a big thing when I was speaking to the players. The impact they feel from us, the energies they feel from us. It was something Lockie mentioned that I asked him the question about what's it like seeing some of the feedback, because he gets some horrible feedback. But he did say that the energies of the crowd, they feel the positivity from the fans, and they love the fact now that they've got some kind of sense of paying us back for the support in the dark times, that they're enjoying feeding off our energies. So I think that's a huge thing. 85,000+ there this week, standing only. So, it's going to be as close to capacity as you can get. I think that I also want to say, though, that I'd love to come on this show and bag Collingwood every stage. I would say that Carlton and Collingwood, though, not only have probably the best history in the AFL, probably two of the best, proudest sides in the competition, but we've also got the two best fan bases in terms of noise, passion as well. So it's a great matchup. Everything is beautifully poised, I think. I don't know what the fans think. The fact that it's former teammates of Lions going against each other at the helm. The fact that it's a squared ledger. The fact that it's two fan bases that have been knocked down at the start of the season. No one gave each of us a prayer. They were going to be bottom four. Carlton were going to let everyone down. There's a lot on the line in this game, both camps high. I think it's the most amazing final. This is the old firm. So everyone knows I fucking hate Celtic, but you know what? I wouldn't want to be in a league without Celtic. And as much as I fucking hate Collingwood, I wouldn't want to be in a league without them. We are the AFL. And although we're going to be winning this game by 45+, it's the best rivalry in the world.
It is. And I think a lot of the younger fans see Essendon as the main rival, but let me assure you that it is absolutely Collingwood. It tears families apart. It's been around since the dawn of time. I think the rivalry's been going on longer than the sport's existed. That's how strong the rivalry is. So of the 85,000 that show up, Pom, I reckon about 22,000 of them are going to get kicked out for punching on in the stands. I think it's going to be one of those games. I think it's going to be a very balmy, very, very aggressive 320 game. People will have been at the pubs all day. So if you're out there, don't punch anyone. But I just think that's inevitable. So it's going to be a raucous crowd. The crowd's going to have a massive impact. But it's one of the greatest rivalries in sport. And it's just getting to go to Collingwood. If you're a Carlton fan who's never been to a Carlton-Collingwood game for whatever reason, you need to get to one because it's just a different experience to to any other game, even an Essendon or a Richmond game. The Collingwood ones come from in here. They come from deep within your soul, and you become a different person when you're watching those games, Pom, or at least I do.
Mate, I agree. And as I'm rubbing Charlie's hair for luck, you can't agree up the Celtic, mate. You make me feel sick, Charlie Kernow for PM. I love you, though. Love the name. But I will say, give me your predictions in chat. But I'm looking forward to this one. I've kind of put a rod for my own back because a lot of Magpies watch the watch along. So this is my favourite watch along to do because I get called a pommy CUNT for about 4 hours. And those who know me know hatred and negativity really turns me on. So I'm looking forward to this one. My predictions for this one is simple. I can't see any way, shape or form Carlton lose this one. Carlton by 52. Give me yours, like dog, and the chat.
Well, Pom, I'm guaranteeing the win. That's a guarantee.
Oh, yes, I fucking love it.
I'm guaranteeing a 42-point win. We're going to win by, what's that, 7 goals. We're going to win by 7 goals.
Oh, God.
Unless, a meteorite hits the stadium in the first quarter and takes out half of our team and they want to continue playing the game. I know this is going to get cut and thrown in my face if it goes the other way, but I just do not see any way in which we lose. We've got better scoring power. We've got a more solid defense across the 7 men. We've got the better midfield. Darcy Cameron's a good ruckman for them, but up against Tom De Koning, they're essentially the same player. Across the park, we are a better team, and we're not the team of the past that you would cave in if the odds were in their favour. We are a different team, and we are going to win this game, Pom.
Mate, and the chat seem to agree. Give me your selections, because obviously we know that this game is a guarantee now, so we're both guaranteed the win. If you just do a net average, you've said 7 goals, I've said 9, so that's an 8-goal win. So just by a combined average. Who's going to be, I want your best on and your biggest, and I want your headline. So the headline that we have the day after, Monday morning, what's the headline? So over to you, chat and Like Dog. I'm
not very good at headlines, but it's going to be something like Mosquito Fleet 3.0, kill the pies or whatever. Mosquito Fleet gives pies malaria, something like that. But it's going to be, I think there's Motlop, Owies and Durden will combine for 6+ goals. Charlie, he will kick 3 for the game, but he won't kick he'll only kick 1 in the first 3 quarters. He'll just be an icing cherry on top, get a couple late because he's going to be doing all the hard work, getting the Mosquito Fleet the goals. And then I think best on, that's a tough one for me. I'm feeling an Adam Chera game, Pom. The midfield seemed to take it in turns of who's going to be best on, and he stood aside last week. He had the 13 touches, was very good, but only at the 13. I think it's going to be his turn to shine. And you know what? I'll throw this one out there as well. Lockie Plowman's going to absolutely just decimate anyone that plays on him because Lockie Plowman is one of the greatest defenders to ever play the game of AFL. Come at me. What do you think, Pom? What's your hot takes?
Fucking hell. Jesus. Kool-Aid, he's strong on this
I
show.
might have a fever right now, so just take that all with a grain of salt.
Jesus, he's fucking the monkeypox is strong over there. I'm going to say best on Charlie Kernow, my boy. I reckon he's going to go off. And my headline is Dow goes wow as Carlton send Collingwood kapow. That is the headline. I reckon Dow is going to have a 4th quarter from the gods.
I love it. I love it. Dow's going to make us ask ourselves, why wasn't he in the team before? Who's this Kennedy Muppet?
Mate, if anyone watched the Monday show, it was something that me and Paolo did. We're strong on that. We explained why we don't think he's in. Now that option is away. And we said the best case scenario for the club is he comes in, it creates a problem. And I think what a great fucking problem if he has a big game. If he has a big game. That is the show, though. I could do this all day, but Terry only gives us half hour because he's stingy with the time. But
he's jealous. He's worried we'll take over the main show from him if we get too popular for him.
Mate, that's it. He is. But you can join me tonight, 8 o'clock. I am doing a little Q&A with the sexy swoop Luke on my channel. So come and say good day. And obviously I'll be on the watch along this Sunday. So looking forward to seeing you Magpies and also my Blue family enjoy themselves and have a bit of a good banter as we watch Carlton march on. Make sure you check out Leg Dog. He's everywhere that does fantasy sports. He is some kind of a demigod, I believe is the phrase, on Jock Reynolds' podcast. You can also add him to your fantasy leagues and just slide into his DMs and ask him questions about fantasy. He loves doing that.
I do.
Until next week, though, we've guaranteed the win this week. We'll see you next week. Much love, everyone. Go Blues.
Go Blues.